Okay, just a short video on another sketching technique of straight lines. So we're looking at a gradient and y-intercept method. So we're going to do two examples, one with a positive gradient, one with a negative gradient. So let's just make up one. So we've got to say y equals 2x minus 3. So straight away, we know that the gradient is 2 and the y-intercept is minus 3, because that's just the y equals mx plus b approach. Okay, so the gradient is 2, the y-intercept is minus 3. So in this method, okay, so I've got a pre-labeled one, so there's your y, there's your x. So the y-intercept is minus 3 is the first thing you mark in. So minus 3 is that spot there. Now what we have to remember is that the gradient is the rise over the run. So the simplest way of having a 2 is to have 2 over 1. Okay, it could have been 4 over 2, it could have been 6 over 3, but the simplest fraction is 2 over 1. So what we do is, the rise is 2, so it's going to go from minus 3 to minus 2. So it's going up to minus 1, then it's running 1. So there's our rise of 2, and there's our run of 1, which is that. So now we've got a second point, and then we just get a straight line. And there's our line. So that line is y equals 2x minus 3. It has a y-intercept of minus 3 and it has a gradient of 2. So copy that and come across when you're ready. So let's do a negative gradient. So let's say y equals minus x plus 2. Okay, so I just made up a negative gradient. So we know in our heart that the line must go that direction because it's a negative gradient. So what we do is we write down the gradient, so it's minus 1, and the y-intercept is 2. So again, label axes, y's, and x's. Don't forget to do that. So there's our first point, 2. Now, this is your rise and your run. So the simplest fraction of minus 1 is minus 1 over 1. Okay, that's the simplest way of writing that down. So we're going to go down 1 because it says rise is minus 1, and then we're going to run 1. So there's our minus 1 and there's our 1, and so our second point is there, and just make a straight line and keep it going so it looks something like that, and put arrows at each end. And so that label for that graph is minus x plus 2. Okay, so going back, you've got to look for y equals mx plus b. The y-intercept is the constant and the gradient is the coefficient. And then once you've got your gradients, which is the rise over the run, think of the simplest way of writing it. So like if the gradient was 2/3, then the rise is 2 and the run is 3. Okay, so each of these numbers is in its position. You know, if the gradient was minus a half, then the rise and the run. So this means it drops down 1 and then it runs 2. Okay, so that'll be that exercise in your textbook for you to practice. And that's it. See you later.